This is Kyle Madsen with your top stories on sports. Dave's mad.
I love Techno Update.
I do too. This is great. I feel like I have to really be into it. 2,
I need some glow
3,
sticks, bro.
4, 1. This is Kyle. Not doing that. Hey, the Kings won last night. It's Kyle Madsen, Sports Update. The Kings won 111-95 over the Orlando Magic. They now play the back end of their back-to-back tonight in Phoenix. It'll be an hour earlier tip-off than we're used to. So our coverage on Sports 1140 begins with game night at 4:30, Kings Live at 5:30, and tip-off, which is set for 6 o'clock. And the Clemson Tigers are your college football national champions. They blew out Alabama last night, 44-16. Clemson scored the final 30 points in that game to cruise to a victory at 7:03. Time to get ready for the International Sportsman's Expo, January 17th through the 20th at Cal Expo. Get tickets at sportsexpos.com. Those are your top stories. Now back to the drive on Sports 1140 KHTK.
Rise and shine, sleepyhead.
I'm not letting you go to work today.
Wait, what?
Everybody, listen up.
Welcome to The Drive.
Morning, morning, morning.
You're gonna talk.
Get on the phone at 339-1140.
Pretty awesome, huh?
Jump in on our text line at 441140.
Everyone is talking about it. You must know that.
The Drive starts now.
We think Matt Barrows is going to join us at 8:05. That sounds so professional.
Oh, you just have to do this. Here's what you have to say. I've listened to enough radio to know that we're efforting Matt Barrows.
We're efforting Matt Barrows I love that term. It's a verb. We are efforting Matt Barrows at 8:05. We just haven't talked to him for a couple weeks. And before I get to what I'm about to say, Kyle has something to say.
It's time to call Sierra Pacific for this winter's best deal on a new furnace. Call Sierra Pacific now, 800-551-3040.
Want to make sure you guys understand, since yesterday was the first day we did this, KHTK is bringing you the ultimate big game dream party presented by Melt, wrapped in Honda. Yeah, you can get check this out, guys. You can get a 65-inch television. All right, this is the stuff we're giving you with our good friends. 65-inch TV, that's a big old TV. Well, actually, it's a big new TV, technically.
Brand new, in the box.
Where you get? But how great would that be if this was all used stuff?
TV.
I had one of those up until about 4 years ago. I had a 55-inch big screen TV, but it was the kind you roll in.
They say, did you have to call like an excavation company to get it out of there?
Dude, it was not easy getting it out of there. The problem is I didn't want to give it up because it worked just fine. It works fine. And also because it was in my man cave, it doubled as it's furniture, so I can put stuff on top of it, and it's not like you can't put anything on top of TVs these days.
Right.
They're all
except
flat.
maybe like an ant. Or a grain of rice.
Oh,
an ant, an uncle.
That's exactly what I thought, dude. I'm like, wait, where is he going? An ant?
He's got a spare aunt laying around. You can just toss her on top of it.
No, we're going to give you an antless 65-inch television. And where shall you sit to watch said TV? How about on your $2,500 worth of Lazy Boy furniture? Yeah.
How do you know if somebody has $2,500 worth of Lazy Boy furniture?
Because we're giving it to them. We're giving them $2,500 in Lazy Boy furniture. Yeah, Kyle.
That's outrageous.
So I have this TV in front of me, and I'm sitting
Hopefully they have snacks at home.
Well, that's up to them, Kyle. Can't do everything. Oh. Yeah, we can. $500 gift card to Sprouts Farmers Market, Kyle. So Monday through Friday of this week. Qualify 3 times a day by tuning in at 8:40, 1:40, and 3:40. When you hear the code word, text it to 441140 or enter it at KHTK.com to qualify. All qualifiers this week, even if you don't win the grand prize, you get a pair of lift tickets to Sierra at Tahoe. Got to be over 21 to enter, or 21 or over, I should say, to enter. Details at KHTK.com. I don't have official stats on this, but I can tell you usually when we do these contests, it's a fact, I think. It's a fact, I think. Usually when we do these contests and they're spread out throughout the entire station, they almost always win on this show. I go back and I check. Like we had a $10,000 winner a couple years, this show. We had another one of these a while back, this show.
Yeah, didn't we do one just last year where it was a big TV giveaway?
Yeah, this show.
And I was thinking about it. I have a 55-inch TV.
Ooh.
And when I was hanging it up, it was like, this TV is enormous. I'm trying to imagine an additional 10 inches.
You're trying to imagine 10 extra inches.
Yes.
Let me tell
Perpetually.
you. Right. It's a lot more TV, pal. It's a lot more TV. It's like the players jumping right out at you. So 840 is your code word. Can we hopefully get a code word today that doesn't rhyme with 17 other? What was it yesterday? It was blitz, and we got blitz, blimp, bliff, glimp, limp. It is huge. Ren and Stimpy. Hopefully today's word isn't. That'd be funny, though, if today's word was like bark and turgurger. That's what I'd do if I was in charge. Kyle, last night, thank you so much. I had mentioned earlier I didn't get to bed till very, very early this morning. I did not even open up my computer to write the rundown. In fact, I put the notes on here for you. I hope you got them till 11:30 at night. I wound
up staying up late last night doing some extra work.
Yeah.
And it was about a little before 10:30 before I got in bed, and I checked the rundown one more time, and you hadn't written anything in there.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, he either just looked and went, okay, cool. Because usually you'll like say something or write something in there if I'd done. And then I opened it up this morning and saw your note. I was like, holy crap.
Yeah, if it's after 10:30 and I haven't written anything in there, something's going on.
Yeah.
You recognize that. So my wife and I get into bed. She's watching some British baking show that she's addicted to.
Oh, great British baking show.
It's whatever. And I opened up the computer. She's like, oh, my God, you haven't written your show yet? I said, no, because I'm picking you up at the airport. So I opened it up, and it's like I think you've probably done the rundown, what maybe 3 times in the last month, 2 months?
Yeah, I haven't jumped in there a lot.
Right. You've been very busy with football. Yeah. I'm not saying that to rip you. I'm saying that to compliment you because you picked like the greatest. I feel like
that's twice that's happened now.
It is. The last time you did it, it was the same thing. It's like you had that sense.
Yeah.
And I opened it up and it was like, oh my God, everything's done. Which is why at 7:00 we're not talking Kings. That's how you can tell Kyle did the rundown. Which is why we talk Kings at 6:30, and then we talk Kings one more time at 7:35. And there
just, to me, was not a lot to say about that game last night.
I gotcha. Hey, it's nice to have.
They kicked the crap out of a worse team.
I gotcha. So what we're going to talk about here, and that's why I like when you do that, because it gives a different, listen, you know me, if it was up to me, we talk Kings.
This would be a Kings pre/post show.
Yeah, and that's fine. I mean, it's probably not fine. In this case, you're very fascinated about the Green Bay Packers.
Yes.
Hiring Titans OC Matt LaFleur.
Yeah.
Now, to the untrained eye, okay, the Packers hired some guy who is an offensive coordinator, maybe has a relationship with Aaron Rodgers, who knows, whatever. Okay, great. But you see more to this.
Yeah. It was interesting when the Titans decided to hire him because the Titans went the defensive route with their head coach in hiring Mike Vrabel, who'd only played defense, coached defense. He's a defensive coordinator for a year with the Texans.
Yeah.
So they brought in a guy to basically run their offense, and Vrabel said, I'm handing the keys to the offense to Matt LaFleur. He's going to go do it. They interviewed Matt LaFleur for the head coaching position. The Titans did, and he didn't get it. But they hired him as their offensive coordinator. He was the offensive coordinator for the Rams under Sean McVay 2 years ago and didn't call plays. He was a quarterback's coach, offensive coordinator.
Sure.
So last year was his first year calling plays. And it was a little iffy when the Titans hired him because it was like, man, this guy doesn't have a ton of experience. How's he going to do? The Titans' offense was not great this year.
No.
And Titans fans, for the ones I communicate with, were happy to see him go. And the Packers are hiring him as a head coach, which I think goes to show that the value now in head coaching searches is people are trying to find the next Sean McVay. People are trying to find the next Kyle Shanahan. And they're going to go get a guy.
Well, and that's the thing. So there's got to be something in common with Shanahan, McVay, and LaFleur for them to make a move like this, right?
That's such good radioing.
Thank
by
you. Thanks.
Yeah, they're all young, offensive-minded. LaFleur coached under Shanahan in Atlanta.
Yeah.
And then under McVay in LA. They were all on Mike Shanahan's staff in Washington, which is incredible to think about. I think LaFleur was a like quality control coach, or maybe a receivers coach. McVay, I think, was the quarterback's coach, and Shanahan was the offensive coordinator. And that's an incredible coaching staff.
And how old is this guy?
39.
Okay, so he's not like McVay young, but
he's a young dude for sure. It's just this. I felt like for a long time it was the same coaches kind of getting cycled through, and now we're getting. And to get a head coaching job to break in, you needed 5, 6, 7, 8 years of coordinator experience. We saw that with Kyle Shanahan.
Sure.
But now it's like, hey, you're Matt LaFleur and you coached under Shanahan and McVay and you have some innovative offensive ideas. You're going to be our head coach. Because if you try and bring that guy in as an offensive coordinator, he's going to get poached as a head coach.
So you think what this is this trend now of trying to find your next kid that's going to take you to the next level with innovative stuff. Problem being, you didn't see a lot of innovation in Tennessee.
Yeah, but I think that partly had to do with personnel, partly because Marcus Mariota was hurt. But it goes to show
pretty
that
big job, the Packers head coach.
Yeah,
it's a pretty. How long did what was it? 11 years for McCarthy.
11 sounds right.
A decade plus for, and you're talking about Titletown. You're talking about one of the most, top 3, 4 most storied franchises in football. And congratulations, guy.
Yeah, it's going to be fascinating to see how this works because Kyle Shanahan has not had the wins, but the Niners are going in the right direction. Sean McVay has obviously been a wild success.
Sure.
But is this going to be a death knell for young coaches where it's like all these young offensive minds get hired and it doesn't work out because head coaching is such a big job that they're not ready for? Or are we just going to see every team going and grabbing college guys or young NFL coordinator types to run their team to try and bring their offense kind of, as I put in the rundown, into the 21st century?
I think, and we'll break here because you said a lot of cool things here that do bear thinking. I will say that purposely keeping myself out of this after I saw you put this on the rundown, I didn't want to read about it. I wanted to learn from you so I could form my own opinions on the fly. I'll say the first thing that really pops into my head is that I think we're due for a major revisitation of the Rooney Rule.
I think so,
and this type of and this hire, I think, is one along with Mike Mayock and the Raiders, following Jon Gruden with the Raiders. And listen, don't freak out, everybody. I'm not advocating one thing or the other. I don't want to get into a political conversation. I really don't. But the rule exists. So either get rid of the rule or understand that it's kind of a joke right now. Where owners and GMs are going out and saying, hey, black guy, come interview. You have no chance at the job, but I need you to fly in and waste your time,
right? So
that I can go ahead and hire this guy. And so now, to your point, you just spent 10 minutes making a very compelling case that this is a chance hire for a guy that hasn't exactly packed the resume with good stuff. So if I'm looking at the Rooney Rule, I'm going, well, but what about all of these people of color? And maybe there aren't a ton. I don't know. I'm not a scout. I'm not an owner or a GM, but let's just say there are probably some out there that have experience, that have a successful background. Maybe they wanted a shot at this.
Yeah.
And the fact that it's Green Bay probably doesn't help too much either. We'll take a break. When we get back, 4 Down Territory, written by Kyle. So you're going to have actual good questions in there, although I see one. I think number 2 is probably my favorite question of the entire 4 Down Territory. We'll talk about that next on The Drive. Sports 1140 KHD. 4 Down Territory. About a month away from this being 4-quarter territory full time.
Oh, snap.
Just a few months away, not that long from now, it's going to be 3 for Madness. So we're getting there. Brought to you by Fire Wings, no matter what it is. 21 different flavors to choose from. Firewings.com. Just wing it. I like that graphic. I don't get to look at the monitor all the time. Eunice doing a phenomenal job. And by the way, this I got a Christmas present that's sitting here next to me.
Let's bust that open real quick.
I'm gonna open it in the 8:30 after Cold Hard Facts, when I can give.
Okay.
I don't want to just open it and then throw it aside. I want to appreciate it. Nice of Eunice to get me something. And you can check out all of Eunice's phenomenal work and our poor unprofessional work at KHTK.com. We are the show that is streaming. They've chosen the 2 best-looking guys on KHTK to showcase on video. Go to KHTK.com at the top of the page if you're on a desktop or laptop, middle of the page if you're on a phone or a tablet. First down, Kyle Madsen.
Make it Mike Mayock said Jon Gruden has final say in personnel decisions. Are you okay with that?
I'll say this. I respect that at least they're being honest about it. And that had to be made clear to Mike Mayock, who has no real experience other than, analyzing. They liked him because of his connection to college football and his ability to break down tape. So you, in fact, really do kind of have a figurehead GM. What I do find silly about what Mark Davis is doing, I don't have a problem. Listen, we'll see if Jon Gruden can do well with final say. But it's if you're going to have it that way, be open about it. But if you're going to do that, then the guy that you bring in as the GM is the guy that is your cap expert, that knows the numbers like the back of his hand, that can hire scouts, that can inform them with tape. But he's the guy that's going to go out, and if Gruden says, hey, we need a linebacker, we need this, we need an edge, we need blah, blah, blah. He's the guy that's going to know everything, period. Well, in Mike Mayock, not only are you putting up a figurehead GM, but it's a figurehead GM that has no ability whatsoever, unless you say to me, well, Dave, sounds a lot like Vlade Divac. Yeah, Vlade doesn't know the cap or anything, but Vlade has final say. That's the difference. Vlade has been given free reign from trading DeMarcus Cousins to now to build this team in whatever way he wishes. That's not what Mike Mayock is. So it does kind of seem to me like it's just a goofy move from Mark Davis, but that's what I expect from him.
Yeah, the Niners did something similar with John Lynch. John Lynch is very much a figurehead type of GM. The personnel department is loaded. They have a bunch of really talented people there. But Kyle Shanahan has final say in personnel decisions. He's the one pulling the trigger on who they decide to pick and who they pursue in free agency. Parag Marathe is their cap guy. But yeah, John Lynch is mostly a figurehead GM as well. So yeah, what the Raiders are doing is they're getting a guy just to kind of help with personnel, but ultimately Jon Gruden's going to be the one building the roster.
Second down.
Second down.
Are the Eagles legitimate Super Bowl threats?
Yeah, they are. They are. I don't think they're going to win the Super Bowl. But I think they're the defending champions, and they have momentum, and we've seen Super Bowls won many, many times because of momentum, because of the unexplainable, because of the intangible, the way that Jason Peters took out Khalil Mack last week, the way that Alshon Jeffrey is rising to the occasion, the way that somehow Philly is getting it done behind Nick Foles, who's not looking great on paper, but the final results are the final results. And by the way, don't discount luck. Don't discount luck and breaks in this situation. We're not talking about this if that football had landed a few inches back instead of a few inches forward that Cody Parkey kicked, but we are talking about it. And Philly was on life support once upon a time for even getting in the playoffs. Now they are 3 wins away from repeating as Super Bowl champions. I don't think they're going to win it, Kyle, but I do think you cannot discount the defending champions.
No, because we've literally seen them do this exact thing before.
Yep.
They had no business winning that game against Atlanta last year, and then they did it, and they rode that to a Super Bowl. And I think we might look back on this game and say, wow, we should not have counted them out.
Right.
However, going on the road 3 times to go to the Super Bowl is
not easy.
Very difficult. So they have a tall task ahead of them, but I'm certainly not going to be the one to count them out.
Third down.
Third down.
Cody Parkey's missed field goal has officially been changed to a blocked field goal. Does that change anything for you?
Yeah, but it doesn't change anything for Bears fans, and that's what matters.
Right.
He should have kicked it higher. I don't know. The thing is that fans need scapegoats.
Yep.
It's not because of Cody Parkey that they lost that game. It's because their offense wasn't getting it done, or their defense. There was an entire game played.
Yeah.
It wasn't because of that
Mitchell
missed field
Trubisky was not very good.
Thank you. But Bears fans got to blame somebody. Blame the kicker.
You know, anytime you're going to blame the guy anytime he loses you Game 7 of a World Series.
Sure.
Like that.
I think later this week we need to discuss whether or not Cody Parkey can come back to Chicago, despite the fact that he's guaranteed $3.2 million.
I watched his post-game media scrum in the locker room, and watching that made me feel much differently about him moving forward.
In a
good way.
In a good way. All right. We'll get to that tomorrow. Fourth down.
Fourth down.
Tune in tomorrow for hot Cody Parkey talk on The Drive.
Kyle, it was 8 years ago today this happened.
Crowd silent now, as opposed to when the Saints have the ball. Oh, look at this run! What a run! Marshawn Lynch still on his feet. Has blockers now. He's dancing his way for the touchdown.
All right, so here's the thing. First off, how crazy is it that was 8 years ago?
8 years ago. I remember where I was.
Where were you?
I was sitting on my buddy's couch in Bakersfield. I've made the trek down to old Baco.
The armpit of California.
I loved Bakersfield, man.
That's the first time that's ever been said.
I had good
ever.
times in Bakersfield.
All right, so here's my question. You can take some time if you need it.
I believe Cam Newton and Auburn won the national championship a year ago
I think
yesterday.
You're about right. I think you're
or
about
8 years
right.
ago yesterday.
I know it was
because I was in Bakersfield for that too.
So I love watching that clip. I love it. I love watching that clip.
Great.
I think that is incredible. That is such a great run. Such an exciting play. So if I'm awarding you points, and the more you either can feel neutral about the team, and you get more points the more you hate the team or the individual.
Okay.
What is the highlight or play you enjoy the most made by the team or individual that you dislike the most? So in other words, I'm going to award myself quite a few points because I can't stand the Seahawks.
Sure.
For enjoying this. And everybody has favorite highlights from the people they love. But if we're doing a sliding scale, more points for the more you dislike this team or this individual, what's your favorite highlight of all time?
Okay, I'm going to need to think about that because that is very convoluted.
It really is. I found myself watching the play, and anytime I see it pop up on social media, I watch the play. I've probably watched that play 350,000 times in my life because it's such a damn good run.
Oh, I see what you're saying. You're weighting it because, like, obviously, Alex Smith to Vernon Davis is my favorite highlight of all time.
You're a
but
Niner
of course
fan.
it is.
Doesn't count.
Okay, got it. That's way low on the
Right.
point scale.
Right.
I'm on. All right.
And as we take a break and you think about this, let me just say this. If I see on the text line a Kings fan bringing up any three-point shots that were made or not made in the 2002 range, that doesn't count, and that just means you're a bad person. So let's not get silly here. Okay? A highlight or a play you enjoy from a team that you either don't really care about or that you hate. Like, that didn't cause me any anguish.
Right.
Okay?
If that had happened against the Niners, you would
I would not enjoy
it.
watching that play.
That's like the LeBron James block on Andre Iguodala.
Sure.
Which I'm sure is going to be a lot of people's answer. I will never be able to enjoy that and appreciate that for what it was.
Wow. Kyle Madsen does not appreciate good basketball plays. We'll take a break. When we come back.
Honestly, the fact that Ori was standing there in a perfect spot to just... I can do it too. You're going to cut me deep.
It's not the
I
same,
can
Kyle,
swing back.
because you have three titles to replace that.
Okay, yeah.
We never got one.
Okay.
It's not the same.
Yeah, okay.
It's Drive Sports 1140 KHTK.
This is Kyle Madsen with your top stories on Sports 1140. The Sacramento Kings got a much-needed blowout win last night over the Orlando Magic, 111-95 in a game that wasn't nearly as close as the score indicated. De'Aaron Fox had a team-high 20 points for the Kings, who had 11 of their 12 players get on the board. Only Bogdan Bogdanovic, Justin Jackson, and Yogi Ferrell played more than 25 minutes, and that's a big deal because the Kings are right back at it again tonight on the road in Phoenix. It'll be their third game in 4 nights. Our coverage on Sports 1140 begins a little bit early. Game night is set for 4:30. Kings Live is at 5:30, and then tip-off with the G-Man is set for 6 o'clock. And the Clemson Tigers are your college football national champions after they blew out Alabama 44-16 in the national championship game. It was Alabama's worst loss in the Nick Saban era. They led 16-14 in the second quarter, but Clemson scored the final 30 points of the game to cruise to a victory. It's 7:37. Time to get ready for the International Sportsman's Expo, January 17th through the 20th at Cal Expo. Get tickets at sportsexpos.com. Those are your top stories, and now it's back to the drive on Sports 1140 KHTK.
I'm having trouble firing this, Kyle. Here we go.
More of The Drive starts now.
We'll get those in the system there. Did you happen to see the, we're going to talk Kings in a segment here, but did you happen to see the halftime show yesterday during the college football national championship?
Imagine Dragons?
Yes.
I did not.
I like Imagine Dragons. I don't care. Screw everybody. I like them. I think they're a fine band
No.
indeed. That was just horrific last night.
Was it tough?
It was really bad,
I didn't
dude.
see any
it
of
was
it.
really bad. First off, they played that Thunder song, of which the entire song pretty much consists of thunder, thunder, lightning, and a thunder, thunder,
Oh, no.
thunder, lightning, and a
Lightning and
thunder.
thunder.
Like,
Oh.
seriously, look up
And the
Imagine
thunder.
Dragons Thunder lyrics.
Thunder.
Yeah, that's the whole
Lightning
song.
and the thunder. Bum, bum, bum.
Granted, it's catchy.
That was a spot-on impersonation.
It really was. And then Lil Wayne came out. I don't know what. Listen, I'm not one to question fashion because I don't know what's going on here,
The comparisons I was looking at on
dude.
Twitter were so funny.
Lil Wayne's getting dragged for I don't know what was that, a robe, a shawl, a poncho. I don't know what that was, but I did want to say. You want to take a guess at what song he performed?
He probably played Uproar.
The catchiest song on the album, as
It's so bad.
as told to you by me
Sure.
the morning
Sure.
after the album came out.
Yeah.
That's the song.
And you couldn't remember the name of the song, so you had to call it Track 4 Uproar because that's the way it made sense in your
Yes,
head.
That is how it made sense. I don't pay attention to any of that.
Track 4 Uproar.
It was a really rough look for both performers, but and by
Hey,
the
it's
way,
okay. Lil Wayne's not going to remember any of
right,
it.
right, dude. You have to go watch the Lil Wayne performance just for the cringe factor, because not only did he also, and to all of their credit, for all we know, and we've seen this happen before, the whole setup might have been jacked. Their monitors and their ears could have been screwed up. I don't know what was going on there. But Lil Wayne not only sounded horrific, but
I think that's just Lil Wayne.
the horrification of everything was furthered by Imagine Dragons lead singer guy gesticulating in the background to Uproar while Lil Wayne was singing. It was bad.
Is that why they're called Imagine Dragons? Because, like, when you're listening to them perform live, maybe you should, like, be imagining dragons or something?
Be
it's
imagining
time
the
to-
draggings you're going to be taking on social media after jokes like that.
Nice, dude.
Thanks.
It's time to call Sierra Pacific for this winter's best deal on a new furnace. Call Sierra Pacific now, 800-551-3040.
From the 916. Thank you, guys. I thought they were saying lightning and the fun dip. Nope, thunder. We asked the question before the break as we move on. We asked the question. I brought up the Marshawn Lynch Beastquake, the run against the New Orleans Saints in the playoffs, as maybe my favorite highlight from somebody or from a team that I dislike. I asked the rest of you, what would you say, weighting it for the more you hate the team or player, what would be your favorite highlight? Did you come up with something, Kyle?
I don't... No.
No?
No. Oh, you know what? The whole sequence that started the Red Sox 3-0 comeback against the Yankees in 2004.
Oh, with
The
yeah.
Dave Roberts steal. That whole sequence, I enjoy that.
Okay.
That's a thing that I like, and I don't like the Red Sox that much.
I'm getting a lot of response here. Let's see. We're talking about I had a couple fans say I hate the Dodgers, but Kirk Gibson's home run. I'll agree with that. If I had to pick the Dodger highlight, I've probably hate the least. It's that one. And sorry to my fellow A's fans, I completely understand why that would piss you off.
I wasn't even alive yet,
I got you.
and I'm still like, ugh.
I understand why that would upset A's fans. I do. And I can only say to you it has absolutely nothing to do. In fact, I would even say that highlight is lessened because it was against the A's. I don't feel good about that. But just the story behind it. Like, Kirk Gibson's got one foot in the
Sure.
grave pretty much. He can't move around. Nothing. That was just a great – it's one of those it's one of those plays you can literally make a movie out
Right.
of, and I think there has been, or at least a documentary. My favorite moment as a longtime diehard Charger fan going to the game and watching the Raiders get dismantled by the Buccaneers was a once-in-a-lifetime memory. Yeah, but that doesn't count, I don't think, because, you don't like the Raiders. Hate the Lakers, but the Derek Fisher shot with .4 left against the Spurs, I'll admit that was impressive. Like, I was impressed by that. That was really, really tremendous. As a Raider fan, play that I respect the most, even though I hated it, was the catch. Aeneas Williams, the Cardinal safety, that blitz to concuss Steve Young. How can you like that?
What was his name?
Aeneas Williams.
Okay.
No, I'm not doing it. Not doing it, Kyle. You're not getting me today. Omri Caspi and Steph Curry exchanging threes for the last 2 minutes of the half a few years ago. That was absolutely, positively fun. All right, let's move on. Should we move on to the Sacramento Kings?
You know what highlight I really like, but it's not a team I hate or a player I hate, is Ray Allen's 3 against the Spurs in the finals.
Yeah. That was huge.
Like, that altered the course of NBA history.
No, there's plenty of those. Not those, but I'm saying, like, where would you put Stephon Diggs last year? Yeah, that's a great play. I have no love for the Vikings, but I have no hate for them.
Sure.
The bat flip dinger from Jose Batista.
Tremendous.
Any Barry Sanders highlight, the Steph deep 3 against Oklahoma City in Game 6 of the Western Conference Finals?
No.
That
they're conflating. The Steph deep 3 was in the regular season.
Okay. The play where Derek Jeter tossed a home plate from shortstop to the right of the first base foul line against the
Why
A's.
you got to bring up old stuff?
I'm just reading the text
This
line.
is ridiculous.
I wish we had a clip. I've looked for it, Kyle. I'll move on here because we really do need to talk about Kings. But did you see Cleveland Farrell's comment last night after the game about
the death row one?
No.
About pooping.
The defensive end, Cleveland Farrell from Clemson. He will be playing on Sundays. Compared starting 14-0 to taking a dump, and the win yesterday night to wiping. Quote, "It's like taking a dump. You got the job done, but if you don't wipe, you ain't finished." Honestly, when we look at, famous sports quotes in history, I want that in there.
Right. It's like, today I consider myself the luckiest man on the face of the earth.
Right up there.
Followed closely by, it's like taking a dump, and now you got to wipe.
I'm not going to, hey, listen, in Cleveland's defense, he's not, I don't see any lies. He's not wrong. Except, can I ask that had they not beaten Alabama, would they have been, like, really itchy all offseason and just uncomfortable?
Hey, man, did you notice that Katie last night on King's postgame was dressed a little bit like Cruella DeVille?
What?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I'm not participating in that at all. I'm not going down that road at all. May I just say, nobody ever points out how the guys are dressed, Kyle.
Oh, I commented last night that I really like Jerry's tie.
Doug Christie was wearing no tie last night. He was going for kind of the Adelman look with the mock turtleneck and the sport coat, but he had a 3-piece on. He had a vest.
Given our post-show conversation yesterday, the fact he went with the turtleneck was really funny to me.
That is true. All right, let's get some highlights.
Here's Fox in three-point range. Fakes the shot, wiggles to the edge of the paint, leans in, draws the foul, scores the basket. Three-point opportunity for De'Aaron Fox. 12-2 run since the timeout for Sacramento. Fox now has 17 points.
As you noted here, Kyle, the Kings move to 11-6 when Willie Cauley-Stein gets 10-plus boards, 9-14. when he does not. Only Bogdan Bogdanovic, Justin Jackson, and Yogi Ferrell played more than 25 minutes in this game. And Harry Giles' defense is really starting to impress more and more and more. He's getting very patient. I wonder if Harry... Do you think that Harry Giles and Marvin Bagley can start at the 4 and 5 respectively for a championship team? Not today, obviously.
If they both grow to where they project out to be, absolutely.
Okay.
What we saw last night from Giles defensively was a prime example of, for me, why he's not starting and playing more minutes, because he had a couple of plays where he came up with blocks or a nice move under the basket and then just threw the ball away.
Yeah, he had one in the fourth quarter, I believe.
There were a couple in the fourth quarter.
And he also
like
had a grab block, too, which are my favorite blocks in the game. My favorite block is not when the block goes into the fifth row. It's when you pull it down, the old Bill Russell play.
So he did that with a guy coming right
then
pulled the ball
away.
and then just threw it away.
Correct.
And the Magic got an easy bucket. Mm-hmm. And so that's, for me, when you watch that, it's like, oh, this guy is immensely talented. That's clear.
Yep.
But it's also clear the game hasn't slowed down for him yet, which is why he's not getting 25 to 30 minutes a night. And he'll get there. That's not a knock on him. But it was very evident for people that wonder maybe why he's not playing more. I think we saw why last night.
I had a crazy thought occur to me during the game last night. And you know that I'm the Pied Piper of pessimism, right? I'm watching him play, looking at that tremendous possession that one time, the one where Grant said that might be too much passing, and then they found Bielitsa down low. Sweet
look by Justin Jackson, by the way.
Very sweet look. So I'm going to put some I got to put a lot of qualifiers out here. Assuming they keep this team together, I'm talking about the core, including Giles and Bagley, Fox, Heald, Bogdanovic. No injuries, no major injuries. Nobody with a career-altering or ending injury, obviously. And I think if they hit a home run in free agency or via trade for a 3, so they stay together, no major injuries, they hit a home run with a 3. I think they're going to play for the title in the next 4 years. Right? That thought hit me. And I don't have those thoughts. Now, I'm not saying make the playoffs. I'm saying I believe if all those qualifiers hit, they stay relatively healthy, no career-altering injuries, they keep the core the same, Fox, Bagley, Giles, Bogdanovic, and Heald. You can get out from under the desk, Kyle. Wow, that sounded weird. Kyle fell on the floor in the other room.
I can't believe you just said that.
And if they are able to fill that 3 spot, and by the way, for all I know, that 3 spot's already filled with Justin Jackson. I don't think so. I don't want to go too crazy. But even when you look at guys like Justin Jackson, and I look at the landscape of the NBA, wow, I'm getting choked up. I almost can't even say this. There's, within the next 4 to 5 years, and a lot of things can change, there's only one team in the Western Conference that truly worries me. And when I say play for the title, I count Western Conference Finals in there, that they're playing. Mm-hmm. They're right there. It's the Denver Nuggets. I think the Denver Nuggets and the Sacramento Kings have the brightest futures in the entire Western Conference.
Yeah.
I really do.
It looks that way. You could say for the, let's say the player the Kings wind up hitting a home run with at the 3, mm-hmm. You could, I think, say that if the Blazers acquired that same player, they would be right there.
Problem is both, and here's part of my thought process, is both Lillard and McCollum are free agents in a year, 2 years, unrestricted. Part of the fun of this is that the Kings have a lot of these guys under contract for a very cheap rate.
Right.
And if everybody develops on this same plane that they're developing, within 3-4 years, think about where they will be when instead of being 19, 20, 21, they're 23, 24, 25. They're all in their prime. They're all hitting that stride, their peak, and they're all on just coming off of rookie contracts, which allows you to go out and make a trade, get a free agent, and you can just go up to and over the cap, which is something the Kings haven't done in a long, long time.
Right.
And I found myself watching this game and thinking that and going, this is exactly what really good teams in the future do. They do really well against bad teams. They stay really close against good teams. They blow leads. But you see guys like Buddy Hield. I mean, when you're talking about pressure cooker offense, you're talking about Steph Curry, Klay Thompson. You're talking about James Harden. But when it comes to just pure shooting, I don't even put Harden on that list necessarily. I'm talking about pure shooting. And Buddy Hield's putting himself in that category. The confidence they're going to gain. It really hit me, and I was like, oh, thought, get out of my face. I don't want to think that. Are you kidding me? Stop being a homer, idiot. I mean, that's my reaction when that thought creeps into my head. I don't want that thought.
To your point, I'm going to relate this to the Warriors because that's the best point of reference I have. In 2012-2013, the Warriors won 47 games. They won 47-35. The year before that, they won 23. Mm-hmm. They go 47-35. Made a similar jump the Kings are making this year.
Sure.
And Mark Jackson called his backcourt of Stephen Curry and Klay Thompson the best shooting backcourt of all time.
And got laughed out of the room, by the way. I remember that. He got laughed out of the room.
Yes. And he was right. So that's where when you look at, hey, the foundation is there with this Kings team, it's there. It's there the same way we saw that. It's obviously a little different in terms of the personalities and the skill sets, but just the idea of, hey, the foundational pieces are here. Now you need to add the finishing touches to that.
I think you're exactly right. The core is there. The nucleus is there.
And I said this on Twitter the other day, but they had a lineup of Giles, Willie, Bogdan, Buddy, and Fox, and it was like you put Bagley in for Willie, and that's your future. Like, it's on the roster right now.
It's right there.
They are as close as they've been since in 18 years.
I think the biggest
15 years.
The biggest personnel question for me is the question I started this segment out with is, can Giles and Bagley be an NBA championship caliber front line at some point in their careers when they develop?
That's going to be the key.
Because right now center is a semi-weak spot. And again, I for the 500th time, I don't think Willie will be here next year. And I think that money in part gets saved. For example, from the 916, Dave, why do you assume all the Kings players would give up big money and re-sign with Sacramento? Well, number one, the assumption here is that Sacramento will be a very good team and will be contending for a title. So you've got the heartstrings aspect. And number two, Sacramento will be able to offer those players more money than any other team. And if they deserve it, they should get it. I know we could have gone into analysis, and we got to take a break here. I know we could have done a deep dive on this game, but as you kind of said, Kyle, they beat a bad team in Orlando, and it was almost wire-to-wire win.
They were on the back end of a back-to-back. The Kings weren't.
We're coming up on a game tonight in Phoenix where Phoenix has lost 6 in a row. I took a look at Phoenix's schedule, by the way. All 6 of those have been at home. They're in the middle of a 7-game home stand, and they've lost all 6 at home.
Oy.
Devin Booker may or may not play tonight, by the way. We're going to, in a couple of games, look back at the first half of this season. And I don't know that I could be much happier with the way the first half of the season goes. Dave Yeager and Vlade Divac need extensions. They need the extensions now. Sign them to an extension, march them both out to center court, and announce those extensions to the crowd and get that stability going.
They need to bring out Vivek. Then the crowd needs to boo him because, again, I'm relating this to the Warriors.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So that
Joe
play can
Lacob.
then be replayed after they win a title.
That's very true.
You're welcome. That's in the blueprint.
You have something to say?
Yeah, it's time to call Sierra Pacific for this winter's best deal on a new furnace. Call Sierra Pacific now, 800-551-3040.
Kyle Madsen writes for NinersWire.com. Matt Barrows writes for The Athletic on the 49ers. Kyle has a lot of questions for Matt, who's going to join us next, and I might pop in and out during the interview. It's The Drive
Why are we booing Vivek? It's part of the plan. Just go with it.
We'll continue after these words about Dr. Jack Friedlander, NorCal Lipo Sculpture on Sports 1140 KHTK.